There comes a time when you stop asking how much more can I do or how much more do I need, and you start asking yourself, what am I waiting for? After nearly 3 decades of running my own business, I decided it was time to retire. But retirement when you're self-employed isn't as simple as handing your notice in, doing a 1-month notice, retiring on Friday and putting your feet up on Monday. It's more like learning to stop when no one is actually telling you to stop. This is the story of what happens when a self-employed person steps back from not just the money, but the mindset and the identity. The quiet truths no one talks about. Now, there are lots of videos about retirement and managing money and pensions, but there are very few about the psychological impact of retirement, especially as a self-employed person, and that's what I want to talk about today. Since 1994, I've worked for myself, first running a marketing agency, then coaching other agency owners. Now, I decided to become self-employed because I wanted, like many people, control and flexibility and freedom. It also gave me something that's much harder to let go of, and that is identity. After all, when you're at a party and someone says, well, what do you do? Well, invariably you tell them about your job, and for a lot of us, our identity is based on our work, and that is particularly true when you're self-employed and you're running this business or your own baby. There's no clean break when you're self-employed. There's no one telling you to stop, so you don't, until maybe, like me, you end up burning out. Now, I thought I was ready to retire. I had a really good plan over a couple of years where I cut my working days down from 5 to 4, and then 4 to 3, 3 to 2, and then in March of this year I decided to pretty much retire. I still have a little bit of passive income, which means that I can work about an hour a day across a week and still earn enough income not to touch my pension yet. So on paper it all sounded fantastic, but the one thing I didn't really bank upon, which is kind of why I'm shooting this video, is the actual psychological impact of retiring and that sense of loss, and also loss of direction. And I think there's a term called retirement depression that a lot of people often go through at the beginning of their retirement because they're going through this sense of loss. And I wanted to be really open and honest with you today and say that I have been going through that as well, even though I am still keeping my finger in and doing a little bit of work. Because when work ends, well, who are you? And how do you fill that void of time that you've now created since you're no longer working? Now, if you've been following our channel for a while, and if you haven't, please do consider subscribing. Then you can go back and watch our journey of buying a home in Cape Town, South Africa, and our eventual plans to spend half our life there during the winters in the Northern Hemisphere, which of course is the summer there, once James retires in 5 or 10 years time. That's our plan long term. And I am spending extended periods of time out there at the moment, up to 3 months, which is what a visa that you get given automatically when you go into South Africa allows you to do. And when I'm in South Africa, it's really easy to fill my time. I never have that sense of twiddling my thumbs or that sense of like I should be doing something with my time, because it's the middle of summer, so it's an outdoor life. And also I have a lot of friends close by that are always inviting me out, and I've got a gym close by as well. So when I'm in South Africa from sort of January through till April, it is pretty easy to fill my time, and I don't have this sense of wasting time, I guess. But the story isn't quite true when I'm in the UK for 2 reasons. One, because when I come back here in April, the weather's still pretty iffy, so it isn't an outdoor lifestyle, and it isn't anyway, because we may have a few days or even a week or so of sunshine, but then it goes back to kind of grey and rainy. Anyone who's been to the UK will know that to be true. But also James is still working, so when I'm at home during the day and he works from home, he's working, so there's a real tendency or temptation for me to think, oh well, I might as well just sit at my desk working as well. And then a friend gave me a poem, which is a fantastic poem. I will link the poem in the notes associated with this video. And the poem says, we all have 2 lives, but the second one only begins when we realise that we only have one. And this really hit me hard. I posted this on the wall because it's something that I look at regularly. And basically it's telling you that, we don't have tons of time and we need to get on with life and make the most of it. And that poem had a really big part in me making the decision to retire at 60, basically. So taking an earlier retirement, because We only have so many kind of go years in us between 60 and say 75. And I absolutely want to make the most of those years while I'm still fit and healthy, touch wood, and have the enthusiasm to do interesting things such as travel. So I made some new rules: strip out the noise, focus on health, travel more, visit friends, and be willing to say yes to new experiences. This has been my mantra for this year, and I've been really lucky this summer to have been to Mallorca, to Greece, to Scotland, to visit various friends, and I obviously right now have the time to do that. And most importantly, keep my work down to a maximum of 1 hour per day. So my typical day looks like waking up at 7 still, making coffee, going back to bed, reading the news, looking at my emails and social media and so on. Then I get up at 8, I do my 1 hour's work, and then I go to the gym for a couple of hours, and then typically I'll come back and I work on this YouTube channel in the afternoon and take it easy basically. And don't put pressure on myself if I don't feel like doing that and I just want to sit and do nothing or sit and read. Then I'm giving myself permission to do that. And it is really hard because there's still this voice going, oh yeah, but Rob, you're wasting time. So we need to learn to quieten that voice down and just give ourselves the grace to listen to our bodies and our minds and do whatever feels right at the time. And really that's the truth that I want to tell you today, because as I said, no one really tells you about retirement when you're self-employed. It's not just about the money, and of course there's a big fear around money always and what is enough. It's about giving yourself permission. You have to give yourself permission to stop and to overcome that fear of whatever is enough for you, and the fear of what is on the other side once you're no longer running your business. That's the thing about self-employment. There is no one telling you, hey Rob, it's time to retire. There's no one saying, right, you need to work your 1 month's notice. There's no one throwing a party for you when you retire. There's just this question that you have to answer: is what is enough and what is next for me? And I think a lot of people who run their own businesses are entrepreneurs and therefore really driven. So what's worked well for me is having a bit of a succession plan and also adding some structure into my day. Now, I'm sure some people who are retired and watching this video are going to go, well, surely the whole point about retirement is to not have any structure, but it has helped me, and I think over time I'll be able to let go of some of that structure. But right now, having this structure in my day really helps me, and it helps me feel a sense of purpose, a sense of worth, and a sense of using my time wisely rather than just wasting it. For me, it meant asking the question, Rob, what on earth are you waiting for? And being really honest with myself. And you know, my mum died at 64, and that is only 4 years older than I am now. So that's always played on my mind. And that poem of knowing that you actually only have one life, and when you realize that, your second life starts, it has been a really big impact for me. I think especially since when we turn 60, we're moving into that sort of latter third of our life, and we want to make the most of it, especially as I'm fortunate enough to wake up in the morning without any aches and pains and enthusiasm to get on and do things. You know, and James and I have got a lot of things going on in our life at the moment to keep us occupied. We're moving house, so we're right in the middle of it at the moment, and we'll tell you more about that when it gets closer to the moving date, hopefully at the end of August. And that's taking up a lot of mental time at the moment. We've got some other big plans that we can't share with you yet, but trust me, we will take you along when we are ready to share those plans. And as I said, having structure in my life post-retirement has been really helpful, and I totally expect that to change over time, but right now that's what's working for me. So if you're thinking about retirement and you're self-employed, then here's my advice. First of all, ease into it slowly and gradually, as I have done. For anybody that's retiring, get rid of your debt. Make sure you've got no loans, get rid of your mortgage, because that gives you an awful lot more options. And we often find, as I am, that we need less than we think to live on month by month. But more than that, stop waiting. Your second life can begin now, but only if you let it. Remember, we have 2 lives. The second one begins when you realize you only have one. If any of this resonates with you, then do drop a comment. Let me know what your retirement journey's been like. Are you self-employed and thinking about this? Then I hope this has provided you with some insights and advice and guidance. And I'd love to hear about your own path, so do drop a comment. But other than that, this is Rob from Rob and James, and we will see you next week.